In this video today, I'm going to show you how I made these two ducks out of resin. So let's begin. Okay, here I'm putting a small amount of mica powder into each of these little Dixie cups. I'm not having to put in much, just a little bit is going to go a long way. And I'm using 4 different colors and putting those aside. And now I'm going to measure out some Let's Resin epoxy resin. So this is the A and the B. The B is the hardener and the A is the resin. And I'm trying to get a handle on what the ratio would be by weight. Normally you weigh these by volume. And so previously in this plastic cup, I weighed in 95 grams of water. And that's equivalent to 95 milliliters. So I want 95 mils of each of these. I dried the water out of the cup before I filled these in, but I'm making a note of what the weights are so that in the future I can do these mixings by weight. Now I'm stirring this up to mix the A and the B together. I am stirring it this slowly because I don't want to introduce any more bubbles than I absolutely have to. And I'm going to end up stirring up for probably about 6 minutes. Right now I'm speeding up the video. And so just to get a quick view of how long this is going to be stirred. So I'm not really stirring it this fast. This is sped up. So that encompassed about 6 minutes. Now I am pouring the clear liquid about halfway up in each of these Dixie cups. That contains the mica powder. And now I'm going to stir the mica powder into the mixed resin here. And I'm stirring again at this speed because I don't want to introduce a lot of bubbles. And I'm going to repeat the same thing for all 4 colors. And so here I have sped up the video again, just to get an idea of mixing all the different colors together. Okay, now I brought my molds in, and I'm just pouring the resin in a little bit at a time. And I kind of squoze that big mold to make sure that there are no bubbles trapped underneath. And now I am filling the Keychain molds and just kind of putting the different colors in to have it rather random. And just end up going around alternating the colors. Sorry, my head is in the way. Alternating the colors just to fill up all the molds. And I just happen to have exactly the right amount of liquid for all of these and spreading it out here for the parts of the area in the mold that it had a hard time reaching. And then I'm going to put a cover over this and let it sit for at least 24 hours. Okay, it's been about 12 hours and I've got a bad batch of resin. As you can see, this is still kind of pliable, but it never hardened, and I thought it might be user error, which is why when I measured this cup, I had measured exactly how much resin I was going to put in, so I know that the volume in this is accurate. And so I'm going to leave these in here a little bit longer to see if it will harden, but I have a feeling it's not going to harden. I'm going to have to buy a new batch of resin, remake these again. And even though this is soft, I'm going to attempt to unmold it very carefully so that I don't deform it, because I want to see what it looks like. And this is the result. I mean, this is hard enough that it is probably useful. I'm going to have to trim off the sharp edges on the bottom here because this is the overflow, and so I'll just use my Dremel tool and file off the bottoms. But this turned out pretty well. I mean, this is pretty cute. I'm happy with this. The resin is not as hard as I would have liked it to be. There's a slight tackiness to it. And so, I mean, this turned out pretty good. And I'm going to also try and demold one of these very carefully to where I don't want to deform it any more than I absolutely have to, because it is still very soft and pliable. But I wanted to see how it turned out. So that's kind of cute. I don't think it's going to harden sufficiently, but I will leave it for a little bit longer. But this is what the keychain is going to look like. It's got a little hole at the top so that you can put your keychain bits. I've overfilled it a little bit too much, and so the hole on the top is blocked, but I'll just go ahead and drill that out so that the hole is open. But this is the keychain. It looks kind of cute. I'm happy with this. I'm just not happy with the resin that I used for these projects. But this is how this has turned out. Okay, and then I'm going to also take an alcohol marker that I've got and just color in the eyes. And I'm going to take another alcohol marker. This is a Copic marker. This is number YR27. And I am going to color in the beak. And for the keychain, I'm going to use a large bail that I've got. This is something I got on Amazon, and it comes several different sizes of bails. So for this one, I'm going to be using the largest bail. And these are the keychain rings that came with the molds for these little keychain ducks. And so, okay, when I poured this, it closed off the hole in the top. So what I'm going to do is I've got some drill bits. I'm going to use the biggest one that I've got. Then I'm going to put this in my bail, just like that. Then I will put this in here and squeeze it shut. So we've got our 3D duck, and we've also got our keychain. Okay, and I'm also going to take my Copic markers, and I am going to, from the back, there's a little indentation here for the eye. So I am going to color in the eye. Okay, what I'm going to do now is the bottom of this is rough, so I am going to sand off the bottom of this to make it smooth, and I'm going to use my Dremel tool with a couple of different grits of sandpaper on it. I don't know how well this is going to record, but we'll try it. I have it in a sandbox here because resin dust is toxic, and so I always do that in here. So I'll start by turning on this. Now I'm wiping off the dust with a damp microfiber cloth, and I'm going to change the sandpaper in my Dremel tool to a finer grit sandpaper. Okay, and then here you can see that I have ground off the bottom so that it's smooth now. If I could polish it up a little more to make it shiny, but I'm just going to leave it like this since it's on the bottom and nobody will see it anyway. And so this is the finished duck, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Bye.